Hey everybody, I'm Amanda with DevExpress and welcome to Take a Tour VCL 12.1 presented by DevExpress Chief Technical Officer Julian Bucknall. In this webinar, Julian will introduce the major new features of VCL Subscription 12.1, see how the new tile control forms the basics of a simple yet effective dashboard, and learn to set up the new server mode capabilities of the VCL data grid, plus see the speed and UX improvements this provides. Julian will answer questions at the end of the session, but you can enter your questions at any time in the questions section of your control panel. Now, before we get started, DevExpress would love to know a little bit more about all of you joining us today. So we do have a couple of poll questions for you. The first one here is, have you downloaded VCL 12.1? You can select one of the following. It's quite easy, yes or no. Oh, awesome. So it looks like about 88% are yes, and about 12% no. Are you using FireMonkey for developing production applications now? Select one of the following. Yes, no, not yet, but planning to in the coming year. So it looks like 50% no and 50% not yet, but planning to in this next year. And 0% yes. Are you planning to move from VCL to another platform, .NET or FireMonkey, in the next year? And again, yes, no, or undecided. So again, select one of those really quickly. We're about 20% yes, 42% no, and 40% undecided. Awesome. Thank you for your valuable feedback. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And I will now hand things over to Julian Bucknall.
Thanks, Amanda. Hello, everybody. This is Julian Bucknall. I'm the CTO for DevExpress, old-time Delphi developer from way back when. You can reach me at julianb@devexpress.com. That's my email address. It goes directly to me, not through some other person. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, that's my handle, jmbucknall. So, what I want to talk to you today about is VCL 12.1. Personally, I feel this is one of our best releases of VCL since the early days. I'm a great fan of 12.1, and I like to view this as basically bridging tomorrow today. In other words, using what is coming up user experience-wise and using it today with 12.1. So I want to approach this through a kind of discussion, if you like. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of interface design. As you well know, I'm sure a lot of you already have iPads or maybe even the Google Nexus 7, if you're that lucky. The touch-capable devices are here. Touch-capable screens are here. And in fact, what's actually started to happen is people are using their tablets, and the tablets are starting to dictate what they expect to see as part of the applications they use for work, for example. The tablets are showing us that data is important. Data should be highly visible within a screen. The Chrome around that data should disappear into the screen, if you like, become less contrasty. Data should be in higher contrast. And people are more than ever expecting simple interactions to do complex things. They don't want to type in a whole lot of information to get simple results. They want complex results from simple interactions. And most of all, tablets are basically showing people that beautiful applications are where it's at. They're expecting applications to look good. No longer just throwing gray on gray. They want imagery, color, typography. Now, traditionally, of course, developers have done everything. They've designed the application, user interface, they do all the programming to connect that user interface to data and do wonderful stuff with it. But to be honest, I've learned over the past few years while I've been at DevExpress and a bit before that, is user interface and so on should be in the hands of designers, graphics designers. They've learned things about visual importance of stuff on the screen. They've learned about the best way to place elements. They know how to experiment to find out better ways of doing things. They understand about white space, about color, about typography, the whole panoply of the user interface. They understand what works and what doesn't work. Now, hiring a graphics designer or a user interface designer is costly. It's an extra person. And for smaller shops where it's 2 or 3 developers, that kind of thing is hard. Employing somebody to do that kind of design. And I'd have to say, being a developer myself, old-time developer, developers are not that good at user interface or graphic design. We need help. We need resources. So the solution, I think, is unless you want to hire a graphics designer, we have several now at DevExpress. We use graphics designers to design our website, to design our demos, to design the actual controls themselves. But for smaller companies, perhaps the solution is possibly imitating what's out there already, to be inspired by what other people have done with their applications. We use applications all over the place. Obviously, you're using Rad Studio. The Rad Studio IDE has been designed and has evolved into its current state. One would hope through graphics designers showing the way. But we also use different types of applications. Our email application, maybe we use Microsoft Word, or our finance application. So what I'm saying here is, have a look around at your non-work applications perhaps, and imitate what they do, how they present stuff. Another solution is through the provision of better application templates. If you're a follower of what we do on .NET and on DExperience, in 12.1 we released a whole bunch of application templates. So basically you do file new, and we have an Outlook inspired template, for example. So we build that complete solution for you and just require you to bind it up to your data and to your particular business needs. Now with VCL we're going to do more of that, and you'll see more of that in 12.2, and in 13.1 we'll be providing better templates for you to create complete solutions that you then tweak and modify. And another one is through the reuse of demo programs. You may have noticed we're starting to do what you might call vertical application demo programs, programs for particular markets or whatever. The demo programs have fake data in them. They're just there to show you what can be done if somebody designs the whole user interface. And through reuse of demo programs, all I'm saying is we give you the source code, just grab the source code, rip out our data sources and put in your own data sources, and then do the tweaks and so on and so forth. And you have essentially an application written for you. I want to re-emphasize a little bit more about touch. Windows 8 is almost here. The release to manufacturing is in August. October 26th is the release for the general public. That's when they can download Windows 8 or buy Windows 8 for $40 and install it on their machines. Physical devices are being readied right now. There's several out there, kind of small touchscreen slates and so on and so forth. Of course, Microsoft have made their announcement a month ago about their Surface PCs, Surface tablets, I should say. Two tablets, one is an ARM tablet, the other one is an Intel tablet. So there's that to consider. And like it or not, and I find that people generally jump into two camps with the Metro look. Either they hate it or they love it. It's going to be the user interface and the user experience to emulate your programs. I mean, witness the Microsoft Office 2013 announcement this week, and lots more websites, for example, are starting to emulate that kind of typography-heavy type user interface. So what I want to do, forgot this slide. For PCs, touchscreens are more affordable. They're all over the place. If you go and check in for a flight, you generally have to use a touch screen. They're all, well, in fact, my when I get money out of the ATM at the bank, that's a touch screen as well. They're all over the place. People are expecting them. How do you support them? Do you wait for Windows RT, WinRT, Windows 8 in other words? But there is essentially a need for touch-enabled applications now. So what I want to do here is to show you our first main control for VCL 12.1, which is our tile control, which was inspired both by a touch interface and by Metro itself. So let me just switch over to Delphi here, Delphi XE2. I'm going to create a new VCL Forms application, and let's just grow this a little bit. I'm going to add a couple of forms here with it, basically because these forms are going to be part of the whole tile application that I'm going to create. Let me just set a couple of items here. I don't need a border on this form, the second form. I need to make sure it's visible. Yeah. And I'm going to drop a label on this form. And the label, let me see, where are we? Caption. This one is going to be called first drill down. So I'm going to create an application where the tiles are going to drill down to other forms, essentially. Let's make this nice and big so that we can all see it. And size, I don't know, 36 maybe. There we go. Fantastic. Just copy that, go to the second extra form, do the same thing, so no borders, and make sure it's visible. Where are we visible? And let's drop that label, copy that label I should say, and this one is going to be second drill down. So I just created a couple of forms, extra forms. We can ignore them now. Let's go back to the main form here, and now I'm going to drop on the new tile control. So I'll drag that onto the form. It occupies the whole form, and I'm going to add a few tiles to it. So a couple of small tiles and maybe a large tile. Let's grow this form a little bit so that it rearranges nicely. Now, okay. And, oh yes, I need to do that. Just look at my notes here. One thing that we have to do is add those 2 units, extra units to the source code. Brilliant. Now we can actually see them. So for this one, I'm going to change its text to first drill down. So when I click on this tile, it's going to go to one of those extra forms I created. Oops, didn't want that one. Jumping around too much. So let's go to the second one. The caption is going to be first drill down. and I'm going to show it as a tab. I'm going to explain what that is in a moment. So let's go over to the second small tile here, and I'm going to change its value to second. There we go. And I'm going to show that as a tab. I'm going to point that to form 3. There we go. Oops, can't spell today. There we go. Brilliant. Now on this tile here, so we have the first 2 tiles I've set as kind of drill down tiles, and this tile here I'm going to show off the animation that we have within a tile. Unless you've looked at Metro, there are 2 types of tiles. One is a kind of inactive tile that just shows some data, and the other one is what's called an active tile. An active tile shows an animation for data within it. We do that through a set of frames. We're copying what videos do essentially. So let's create a set of frames for this tile. I'm going to create 3 frames, and for the first frame I'll just call it first frame. How about that? Oops. Okay, now copy that. And we'll do the same for the second frame. Now, the text within a frame, there are 4 possible text values you can throw into a frame or to a tile, and we give you the opportunity to change where those particular bits of text can appear. So I'm going to set this one for the 3rd frame to the bottom right, and for the 2nd frame I'm going to center it. And you'll see how that works in a minute. So that's all I've done. I've set a few properties. Let's run this application right now. There's our usual skin dialog. I'm just going to accept everything in there. So first of all, let's have a look at this particular tile. Notice it's animating with the 3 frames that I created. As I said, the text can appear in one of 9 different positions, and there are 4 values for the text. You can add glyphs as well. There's the ability to add glyphs to each of the frames. So that's kind of fun. Like a normal, let me grow this full screen. Like any normal tile application from Metro, you can drag these tiles around. It's very fluid. It's very much a fun for the user to use. Let's click on the first drill down tile here. We slide in the second form. Over here, notice there is a what you might call a tabbed area, so we can slide in the second form, slide back into the first form. We provide this nice go back to the tile display, and there we are. Simple enough. 5 minutes worth of work. I've already got a fairly sophisticated looking dashboard type application. These could be, or these particular forms could show extra information. I'm drilling down in theory from the original tile into these extra panels that we can slide in. And so I want to show you what you can do if you have a lot more time. Here's our Real-to-World application. It's a tile application again. You can slide these tiles around and grab them and move them around and so on and so forth. Notice these particular tiles have glyphs as well as text. They're without me doing any work at all, they are showing the end user extra information. I can click on one of these tiles and we slide in an extra pane, just like before. Obviously with this particular demo application I'm showing an awful lot more information just to show you how easy it is. Oh, I was on Albert Walk. Let's look at Cindy's information here. So we're showing, charts, we're showing grids. Here's a nice grid here. And we have the a better looking tabbed interface up here. Let's go to the loan calculator, for example. Notice what I want to show you here is, notice on this particular say panel, it's the data that's popping out at you. It's the data that's high contrast. The actual chrome, as it's called, is fading into the background is not important. Here's another example. This is what's actually happening on this particular machine. I'm running in a virtual machine, by the way. So it's the data that's popping out, and the chrome itself, the scroll bars and the delimiters for each particular sub-panel fade into the background. It's not important. That's what one of the things I wanted to inform you. So clicking on the old back button here, we slide back into the tile interface. So that's a kind of thing that you can do with the tile control. And as I said before, this is a demo program. You get all the source code. You can modify this to your heart's content for your own particular business needs. So let's jump back to my slide deck. So just to recap, the tile control is touch capable. I don't have a touch screen here, I'm afraid, especially not on a virtual machine. It is touch capable. You can, if you have a touch screen, hit these particular tiles. They're big targets. For a touch screen or for a touch enabled application, you have to have big targets. Your finger is a big thing compared with a mouse cursor. This mouse cursor is fairly small. They're inspired by the Metro look and feel, and it really is a great way to produce a very a dashboard application. After all, a dashboard is a initial screen with lots of information on, and then you drill down by clicking things on the screen. And a tile application like that produces a very nice, easy dashboard application. People understand what's going on very quickly, or users will understand what's going on very quickly. So having talked about Metro-inspired tile control, let me talk a little bit about data productivity. There are two primary axes here that I see. One is the developer productivity. What I'm talking about here is especially the ability of you, the developer, to navigate through large data sets with hundreds of thousands or millions of rows. And what we believe is using simple components to do that for heavyweight data scenarios is the way to go for you, the developer. You don't want to spend a lot of time messing around by saying, how many records does this table have? Do I use this or do I use that? You just want simple components, drop them on the form, bam, set a few properties, you're away. The data is there on the screen immediately. And that basically comes to the other axis, which is end user productivity. The end user doesn't want to sit around waiting for you in your application to download a whole bunch of data. And traditionally, that's the way it's worked. You connect our grid up to a 1,000,000 row data set, and you wait a little while for the 1,000,000 rows to download onto the client machine. So with our new 12.1, we're all about reducing the wait time before the end user can get his work done, or their work done, I should say. So we created server mode as a set of components you can use to utilize big data very efficiently. Essentially what happens is it downloads only the data that's required for the immediate view. So the user goes into the application, a grid is displayed, only that data that's necessary for displaying on that particular screen is downloaded. The user's pages up, pages down, maybe filters, maybe sorts, maybe does a grouping. And again, server mode ensures that only the data that's needed for the display is downloaded straight away. And then the way it does that is through constructing some clever SQL statements on the fly, so we're not populating a grid with lots of SQL statements. It just creates the SQL statements on the fly for that efficient data retrieval. We want to make sure the end user gets to view the data pretty much immediately. And, you know, like it or not, the database server is the machine which has lots of memory, lots of horsepower, you know, big disks and all that kind of stuff. Let the database server do that heavy duty work rather than your end users, which is, you know, probably a lightweight PC of some description. Let the database server do the hard work. So thereby you only have to, you know, beef up one machine. So let me quickly show you how server mode works from the developer viewpoint and how that translates into the end user's viewpoint. So let me first of all kill this application and go back to here and start a new VCL Forms application. I don't want to save any information. Right. Here we have a form. New application. I'm going to find our grid and drag it onto the form. Don't want to mess around here. Let's just align it to the client, and we're going to grow it. First thing we should do is to create a view. The default view is not what we want here. So I'm going to create a view, and it's going to be a server mode table. Okay. Now I'm going to use ADO to connect to my SQL server. So we're going to have an ADO connection. We'll just drag that on there. And from the ADO connection, we're going to have a data source which is going to do all the hard work for sorry, I'm just something flashed in my periphery here. And then we have a data source which is basically going to act as the conduit between the connection and the grid. So the ADO connection is going to connect to my SQL server. So let's go find that. I'm going to connect to my... Now what I've got here, the physical setup I've got here is I'm running in a virtual machine, and I'm going to connect to a SQL server on my the machine that's actually running the virtual machine, if you see what I mean. Use Windows NT, initial catalog is this thing. Yeah, we're okay, fantastic. And save that. I don't want to log in prompt, and I want to make sure I'm connected. Okay, now go to our server mode data source, connect it to that particular connection I just added. Now the next thing we need to do is to set what kind of adapter we're going to use. We're going to be generating SQL statements, or this particular component is going to be generating SQL statements on the fly. Every single database engine has its own particular version of SQL. Rather, it's pretty standard, but there's lots of different varieties. I'm going to use the Microsoft SQL Server. At the moment, as you see, we have 5 different adapters for this particular data source, server mode data source: Firebird, Interbase, Microsoft SQL Server, MySQL, and Oracle. Obviously, we'll be writing more adapters as time goes on, and be releasing those as part of minor updates and so on. So if you don't see your particular database engine here, don't fret, we'll be adding it later. So we're using the Microsoft SQL Server adapter, and I need to grab the table. Created this table earlier on. It's got 500,000 records, and that's fantastic. Make it active. Fantastic. Now go over to our view. We need to link to that particular data source. Boom, there we go. Lots of data in the form straight away, and now we'll just run it. Usual skin. Okay, let's screw this full size, resize a few. So we have a bunch of data. As I say, there's 500,000 records here. I'm just going to basically play around with this. So let's sort by subject here. Notice, I mean, the response is immediate. I'm not downloading 500,000 records from my main machine over here into my VM. My VM is very cut down. I'm just using the server mode and the response is immediate. That's the great thing about server mode. Here I've just grouped and the response is immediate. 500,000 records grouped. And again, it's because I'm using the SQL Server instance. It is only being sent back the immediate data that needs to be displayed. So I can open up these groups and immediately I get a response. The amount of data being transferred between my virtual machine and my main machine is virtually none. It's just a screen's worth essentially. What can we do here? Let's drag up here, and we can do things like that. And every time I do something here, it's an immediate response, if you like. Let's drag that here, select just this one. And I'm filtering here, and the response time is immediate. So I have these few things, and again I can let's group, and we just see those things. So here I'm grouping and filtering and sorting. Server mode just works, and you saw how easy it was to set up. It's quick, it's easy. There's not a lot of properties to set or anything like that. So I'm told by my people back there that this has an Easter egg. You're seeing it here first, people. I can click and select a white theme. Hey, look at that. Magic. Anyway, back to my slides here. So just to recap what we saw, apart from the little Easter egg, you saw it here first. Using server mode is A, simple for you, the developer, and B, it helps smooth your end user's workflow, especially with large data sets. So that's all I have for showing off VCL 12.1. There's an awful lot more that you can see we've added to 12.1. By all means, go to devexpress.com/VCL and have a look at the What's New section to see what we've added. And if you need to evaluate 12.1, go there and click the try button, and you'll download the trial install. So let's see if we have any questions.
Hey, Julian.
Yay.
We do have a couple questions that have come in.
Oh. Excellent. So what do we have here? Let me have a look.
Let's see. From Daniel, is everything done through ADO and server mode?
The answer is we have a DevExpress data source as well. So currently we've got a data source for ADO, and we have a data source for DevExpress as well. So the strict answer is no, since we have another data source. And obviously these one of those things that we'll slowly add to. It's probably more important that we add adapters more than data sources at this time.
Great. And then what if I want to show data? What if I want to show data coming from a complex SQL query? Is this displaying the contents of just one table? And what good is that doing if there are always joins and stuff?
The quickest answer is create a view in your database which does the joins and whatever. So you're basically doing SQL. You're doing server mode against the view rather than a single table. That would be my answer to that question. I'm just waiting to see if somebody in. Oh,
you're right.
The team are on our private channel here, and they're saying I gave the right answer. So I've just scored with the team. Yeah, create a view.
Let's see.
Okay.
I've installed 12.1.3 into Delphi XE2, but I don't see the tile control from Eric.
Well, that's a bizarre thing because I essentially set this all up yesterday, and you don't. Whoops, wrong place. So typing in tile into the tool palette like this doesn't show you. I'd have to defer to the team on that or to support. Not quite sure what the issue that is there. As I say, I set all this up yesterday afternoon for this particular webinar, and I did nothing special. So this is a classic works on my machine thing. Unless somebody in the team is going to give me some hints, I would actually, Eric, I would go to support. They're going to be the best people to answer this particular question. Make sure also that you have the VCL subscription. Tile control is only available in the VCL subscription. It's not available as part of, say, if you have the individual products like Express bars or Express Navbar or Express Quantum Grid or anything like that. This is only part of the VCL subscription, so you have to have the VCL subscription.
And the team is also saying if the customer has just clicked update when installing our setup, the tile control won't be installed. He needs to modify and update. Use modify and update mode and check tile control in the products list.
Cool.
If he's just Eric, yeah. You're just doing an update.
Yeah. So Eric, yeah, that actually reinforces what I did. I basically uninstalled everything yesterday afternoon, and then installed 12.1.3. So good point there from our team. So if you click update to update, it won't add the tile control. You need to actually modify and update. Okay, what's next?
Well, there's a lot of people helping Eric.
Yeah, cool. We have some great attendees here that are doing the same thing. They're saying, yeah. Select the tile control component. Oh, Eric is fantastic. Okay, any other questions?
That is all the questions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've obviously stunned everybody. This is great.
We did have someone ask if our poll questions at the beginning of the session regarding FireMonkey were meant to measure FireMonkey demand, and I said yes. What do you say?
Yes, they are. I mean, well, let me start again. Back in June, or maybe it was May, I can't remember, June, I visited our VCL team. We had a long discussion about 12.1, about producing real-to-world and all the rest of it. We also talked a little bit about what we were going to be doing in 12.2, and one of the things that we decided was we are of the strong opinion that with RAD Studio XE2, FireMonkey was not ready for prime time. I don't want to go over the reasons for this. You can look back through some old blog posts. You can basically do a search on FireMonkey and see what other people think about FireMonkey and all the rest of it. But we firmly believe, given that XE2 was not quite ready for prime time, we believe that XE3, which is, we assume, going to be available in September, since that's when Embarcadero tend to release their RAD Studio versions. The FireMonkey in XE3 is going to be much better. So during our discussion back in June, the VCL team and I decided that we were going to take a couple of developers off, maybe 3, and do some investigation into FireMonkey, especially with regard to mobile development. I've said it before, and I think I did a post with the announcement of 12.1, we're not particularly interested at this stage, at this juncture, for essentially converting everything we have in VCL for FireMonkey so that people can create Mac apps. That's a possibility we could do, but we feel it's more interesting and actually aligns to our greater goals within DevExpress anyway, to take a look at FireMonkey for iOS and FireMonkey for Android and basically FireMonkey for mobile development. At the moment, creating iOS apps with FireMonkey is a pain in the neck because you have to use Free Pascal, but we believe that that's going to be a lot better in the future. So that's our plan for 12.2, is to do a spike, to use the proper development term, to look at FireMonkey for mobile applications or for mobile controls. So that's what we're thinking of with regard to FireMonkey, and the poll essentially was to gauge the response level here on this particular webinar, for our attendees to see whether you are using FireMonkey right now for developing, say, for the Mac or for Linux, or although it doesn't really support Linux at the moment, or even thinking about FireMonkey for iOS apps. And as I say, we want to align ourselves in VCL to with the VCL team to what we're doing elsewhere within DevExpress. And if you look at what we're doing with .NET, it's all about creating solutions, about investing in the mobile space. So that's what we want to do with the VCL team. Now, obviously, creating FireMonkey controls for iOS or for mobile devices is going to take a little while. It's not going to be 12.2 that we produce a whole bunch and everybody goes ooh ah, but it's certainly something we want to look at and evaluate for, say, 13.1 or 2013.
Awesome. I think that answers that. Ooh. Thank you, Julian.
Your accent is kind of thick. Are you from Texas? Says Seth Juarez. Ha!
Get off of my
I'm
truck.
from Canada. What the heck?
Oh, yeah. Daniel says that information
yeah, we're a bunch
helps.
of...
Thank you.
Cool. Anything else?
No, and I think that's actually it's all the time we have for questions as we hit our
it's 45 minutes.
minute mark. But thank you, everyone, for getting those in, and thank you, Julian, for an awesome presentation.
Thank you,
everyone.
Amanda.
You can visit devexpress.com/webinars for upcoming webinar sessions. Hold on, there is one more question. Where can we get documentation for the tile control?
I'm waiting for our head in the installation. Yes.
In the installation, okay.
So how-tos, only visit the webinar. Oh, I see. No, it's download the trial run, Dimitar, and it's part of the installation. I don't think we've updated our separate documentation download for the tile control yet. Oh, we have. Oh, you can download the offline documentation. Go to devexpress.com/VCL, and down at the bottom is going to be online documentation. Let me do that right now so you can see exactly where I'm talking about. Oops, wrong place. Let's go back over here. Go over here. Kill that. Go to devexpress.com. This is where we see the real speed of the network connection between my VM and my main machine. go down here, online documentation. Oh, this is the experience. Duh. He's right. Go back.
He says he found it.
Oh, okay. I won't go there then. I need to log in. It's part of the downloads. Ignore me.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for your questions. Again, devexpress.com/webinars. You can check out our new VCL pages like Julian has been showing you for all the new bits in VCL 12.1 at devexpress.com/VCL. Plus, if you haven't already, you can download and try it for free today at that same link, devexpress.com/VCL, and click try. All right, and that's it. Thanks to Julian. And of course, thank you all for joining us. Let's see what develops. Bye-bye.